This next match is for the Pinfall Wrestling Association Regional Championship. This is a ladder match. Ladies and gentlemen, if you see the wrestlers come near you with a big ladder, please move.
Wrestling fans, my name is the analyst Robert Leach, and welcome to another free match on PWA's YouTube channel. Tonight, we go back to the Grand Wrestling Spectacle number 5 as we, as a company, are currently on the road to the 10th annual Grand Wrestling Spectacle, the show we've been waiting 3 years for, through this pandemic, through reschedulings, through postponings. We have been waiting 3 years now for the 10th annual Grand Wrestling Spectacle, and it's finally upon us, just a couple of weeks away. Number 1, Tommy Arson, making his way to the ring right now for a ladder match as he's set to defend the regional championship in a day where it was yet to be unified with the heavyweight title against the young thriller Derek Moss in the co-main event of the 5th anniversary of the Grand Wrestling Spectacle number 5. We are ready for action here tonight. Tom Arson going to jump over that top rope and make his way to the ring.
Okay, make this clear. Shut up, sir. Bugger eaters, look, here's the deal. I gave Derek Moss this shot tonight because he earned it. That doesn't mean that I like him. That doesn't mean that I believe that he's good enough to take it from me, but he has earned it. And I just want to remind everybody, including Derek Moss, that my history is inundated with people, guys, who thought they could make their name off of running in here with Tommy Arson. And where are they? I'm here where I belong, here, regional champion, and on fire!
Please excuse the technical difficulties here at Lanphier High School. That's quite all right, though, because we've got quite the show. I believe the technical difficulties span from the ring being centered directly under the speaker monitors. Either way, Derek Moss, the challenger for the regional championship, making his way down to the ring at this time, ready for action as a sea of fans start to approach the entranceway area. Derek Moss is ready to go for the regional championship in a ladder match tonight against number 1 Tommy Arson. Number 1 Tommy Arson, a 20-plus year legend of Central Illinois Pro Wrestling, Springfield Wrestling, one of the originals of Springfield Professional Wrestling, a veteran if you've ever seen one, a professional if you've ever seen one, Tommy Arson, and the same for Derek Moss. Derek Moss now entering, I believe, 12 years this year as a pro wrestler, but at this time only 5 years in. Derek Moss making his way around the crowd, and you can see just how much the PWA crowd loves the young thriller here tonight inside of PWA for the Grand Wrestling Spectacle. It's number 5 here tonight at Lanphier High School, and very, very, very courageous, I should say, of the young thriller Derek Moss to just nonchalantly walk under, I should say, that ladder in the corner, and he might have just spared his fate or sealed his fate here tonight in this regional championship contest. Derek Moss ready for action. Gonna go one-on-one with number 1 Tommy Arson, the Hall of Famer, here tonight. Let's take things to the ring with Hall of Famer Mickey Thomas, Mr. Classy himself, with the ring announcements.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, introducing first the challenger weighing in at 235 pounds, from Kincaid, Illinois, the young thriller, Derek Moss. And introducing the PWA Regional Champion, weighing in at 250 pounds, from St. Louis, Missouri, #1, Tom Arson.
The official for this ladder match this evening, PWA senior referee Tim Givens. This match is officially underway. The only way to win, retrieving the championship belt from high above the ring by climbing a ladder. And now #1 Tommy Arson getting an early advantage, taking Moss off of his feet very early with a well-placed elbow to the back of the head and a well-placed stomp while Moss was grounded on the mat. And now Derek Moss being hammered upon by #1 Tommy Arson. Kick to the midsection. Arson sends him into the ropes. Irish whip, ducks the clothesline, does Derek Moss. Huge Thesz press, and now hammering away on Tommy Arson. Tommy Arson now trying to figure out what just hit him as everything happened very quickly there, and Derek now getting the crowd behind him again as he goes and starts to look for a weapon, perhaps a little piece of hardware that we know as a ladder that he's going to need to use to climb in that ring to grab that belt. And here he goes. He's got the first ladder, and Tommy Arson waiting around for Derek Moss and tossing the first ladder right back out of the ring. Very smart maneuver from Tommy Arson, but also not taking time to capitalize on the fact that Derek was distracted looking for a weapon and not in the ring wrestling. Tommy Arson could have went after Derek there, but no. Tommy's playing the waiting game, which is perfectly fine, at least for a moment, because now Tommy Arson's coming in hot on Derek Moss with a clothesline. And Derek out on the outside of the ring, and this could be Tommy Arson's opening. However, he's going to grab the ladder from the center of the ring, and this can't be good for Derek. Tommy Arson has the ladders laid down on the outside of the ring and a headbutt to Derek Moss. This isn't good. Oh, wow, a huge scoop slam onto that ladder on the outside of the ring, and he's just bent the ladder from the pure weight of Derek Moss landing on it. With no give below, that ladder is bent right down the middle. You can see on the side support there. And now Derek Moss has to be feeling the pain of that unforgiving steel. And now Derek Moss sent face first off the corner post of the PWA ring here at Lanphier High School. Tommy Arson now going to drag Derek over to the ladder that's set up on the outside. And now Derek Moss fighting back against Tommy Arson. Forearm well placed across the cheek, the chin of Tommy Arson. And now, oh wow, scary moment because that ladder just slipped out from Derek Moss. However, Derek was able to get enough aerial momentum that he was able to make his way over to Tommy Arson. And now Derek Moss has a hold of that bent ladder. However, could still be climbable by this point in time. However, Tommy Arson going to be rolled back onto the apron. Tommy Arson now trying to get his way out of it, but Tommy Arson laid upon that ladder, and that can't be comfortable just to lay on. But now Tommy Arson's in position, and Derek Moss is looking for it here. Derek Moss has Tommy right where he wants him. Huge leg drop with the ladder just underneath Tommy Arson's back. Remember, Tommy Arson has left wrestling in the past due to back injuries and back issues. And so Tommy Arson, no stranger to back pain, and that can't feel good on the previously surgically repaired back of Tommy Arson, who is now trying to climb the ladder but realizing the ladder is much too short for what they're going to need to use it for. And now Tommy Arson with a right hand to Derek Moss, and they're going to trade shots in the center of the ring here. And Tommy Arson looked like blocked one of Derek's shots, and there's a headbutt right to the forearm. And now Tommy Arson has a hold of that smaller ladder again. Oh, and to the head with that end point of the ladder. That couldn't have felt very good. It's a very thin yet very hard piece of plastic covering a bunch of metal. It cannot feel very good. And now Tommy Arson willing the crowd on, saying, "Come on, Derek, let's go." Because Tommy Arson's very confident in the fact that, or in his thought, that Derek will not be able to beat him for the regional championship tonight. And now Derek Moss in trouble as Tommy Arson has the ladder against his knees. And now Derek caught with a boot to the side of the head. And this is not good for Derek Moss with his chin right there. I see what he's looking for here. Oh, and a wheelbarrow maneuver sends Derek face first off the steel of that ladder that's been suspended between the corner of the bottom rope. And now Tommy Arson says, "I'm number one." Now, Tommy Arson out to the apron. Tommy Arson going out, looking for another ladder, as you can see here. Tommy Arson going to carry it over to the ring. Tommy Arson talking some more smack to the crowd. And Derek Moss is still very much out off of that wheelbarrow maneuver. And this is a much taller ladder. It may be perfect for what they're going to need to use it for here tonight. Tommy Arson setting the ladder up, and he's looking to climb the ladder and retrieve the regional title just about 5 or 6 minutes into this matchup so far. And Derek going to climb up right behind Tommy Arson here. And there is the side suplex to Tommy Arson. And now the crowd clapping, willing on Derek Moss, trying to get him back up to his feet here. And Derek Moss bringing the ladder into the center. The ladder very unstable. Derek Moss has to be careful here, but Tommy Arson up to his feet. This isn't good, and the ladder. Wow, Derek Moss better be glad he jumped backwards. Oh, and Tommy Arson usually does that maneuver into his knee to finish an opponent off, but Derek Moss just felt that move with his forehead meeting the steel of the ladder. And now the second ladder, the shorter ladder, being laid, dropped right across the front side of Derek Moss. And Tommy Arson up to the top rope. We don't see this all too often. A huge swanton bomb down onto the ladder. Derek Moss underneath. That ladder's going through just about as much punishment as these two men are going through here tonight at the Grand Wrestling Spectacle at Lanphier High School. The 5th annual Grand Wrestling Spectacle live for PWA tonight. We're having a hell of a time, and so are Arson and Derek, because take a look at what's going on here. Both men feeling the pain of the unforgiving steel of these ladders, the unforgiving metal that these ladders are made of. And now Tommy Arson setting up the ladder again. However, not climbing quite yet. Tommy Arson taking a moment to try and recuperate from the pain that he's felt so far, especially dropping upper back, potentially neck first, down onto that ladder from the top rope. And Derek has a hold of the ladder. He's trying to push it over with just one hand. He's going to have to get up a little higher here, and Derek's trying to shove the ladder over and wiggle it out from underneath Tommy Arson, who jumps down, realizing that Derek's not going to leave him alone quite yet. There's too much life left in Derek Moss here tonight. However, Derek has not been able to get back up to even his hands and knees at this point, because like I said, Tommy Arson usually does that head hook maneuver into his knee, and that is usually enough to finish off an opponent, let alone into the solid steel, the unforgiving metal of one of these ladders here inside of the ring. And now Tommy Arson picking up Derek, who hooks Tommy. Here he comes with a brain buster. Now both men are down because that was a last-ditch effort from Derek Moss. Derek Moss was only able to get up to his feet and muster up enough energy and enough strength to do that maneuver just then that efficiently, because now Derek can barely pull his dead-weighted body across the ring to grab hold of this ladder, as Tommy Arson is in a lot of trouble. And take a look. Tommy Arson was the first one up to his hands and knees off of a brainbuster from Derek Moss. Tommy Arson was up before Derek Moss was just then. That's how much pain and suffering Derek Moss has gone through thus far in this contest. And now Derek's in trouble, and Tommy has a hold of that ladder set up in the corner. This isn't good. And Derek Moss sent back first across that steel, across the metal of that ladder yet again. And that can't be good. That ladder, just like the two men in this match, I know I said it before and I'll say it again, they've all been through hell so far, and I don't think it's anywhere near being done. Referee Tim Gibbons checking on Derek Moss inside of the ring. Tommy Arson, one last stomp for good measure as he looks to climb the ladder and retrieve his regional championship and walk out with the belt tonight. Tommy Arson, however, caught at the ankle by Derek Moss, who gets kicked off by A number 1. And now Tommy Arson pulled off, and there's the super kick. Tommy Arson's down, but Derek Moss not in much better shape than he is. However, Derek is going to pull himself up, and Derek is able to figure out a way to muster up the energy to at least get that ladder out of the center of the ring, knowing he can't efficiently do anything at this immediate moment. And now, going after the last ladder that we have positioned at ringside here, Derek Moss carrying it over to the ringside area. And now Derek Moss, remember, Derek just jumped off this ladder earlier in the match on the outside and it slipped out from under him. So the fact that he has it set up on the outside, and he's calling fans and security over to hold on to the ladder because he realizes what happened earlier on, and now no disqualifications means even having outside forces help hold on to a ladder, that is considered legal here tonight. And now Derek Moss to the top of the ladder, higher than the top rope here. This isn't good for Arson or Derek with the elbow drop from the outside of the ring into the center. Tommy Arson feeling the pain. Derek feeling the momentum, and Derek having the fans and the security help push that ladder over the top rope and into the ring. And this is not good for Tommy Arson, who has just been struck with an elbow from a higher elevation than the top rope. And now Derek Moss trying to pull himself and pull the weight of his body up to that top rope, or up to the top of that ladder. And now Tommy Arson is going to climb up after Derek, and this is not good for either man. This is not good. Derek had his fingertips on the belt, but Tommy Arson and Derek Moss trading right hands on top of these ladders, and this is not good for either man. You can see how these ladders are wobbling back and forth, and Derek with a high kick. Arson's down, and Derek is alone at the top of the ladder here. Derek Moss going to climb the ladder, and Tommy Arson now up to his feet again. And as Derek had his hand wrapped around the belt, Tommy Arson with one well-placed shot to the kidney. And now Derek Moss is back down onto the mat, and Tommy Arson throws a line, and there's the rolling elbow. Tommy Arson's down, but Derek Moss has to figure out how to get up to the belt right now. And Derek Moss realizes he's got to do more than just that to take out Tommy Arson here. Derek Moss is going to unfold that second ladder. He's going to leave the other one standing, but he's moved it from the center of the ring because he's got something up his sleeve here. I don't know quite what it is, but he's got something going on here. And this isn't good because that ladder was leaning toward the center of the ring as Derek was trying to climb it. Oh no. There's no way. What is Derek doing here? Oh, and caught with an uppercut from Tommy Arson. Right across the chin. Tommy Arson connects with that European uppercut. Both men are down in the center of the ring. Tommy Arson trying to find the energy and the adrenaline to will himself back up to his feet to climb and retrieve his regional championship. Tommy Arson shoving away referee Tim Gibbons. Tommy Arson in full control right now. He's the only man on his feet. He's the only man potentially conscious because it looked like Derek Moss's eyes were glazed over off of the connect from that European uppercut. Tommy Arson now climbing to the top of the ladder, trying to get his hand around the belt, but Derek Moss, by some miracle, has his arms around the knee and the ankle of Tommy Arson, who is trying to kick Derek away from him right now, who's trying to kick Derek off of the grasp that he has right now. But now, Tommy Arson turns around into a right hand, and Derek Moss, in a very bad way right here, caught with the headbutt. And now Tommy Arson has a hold of Derek, looking for the Irish whip, but Derek Irish whips Tommy into the corner, and there's the big haluva kick in the corner. As the ladder's been knocked out of the way, Tommy Arson's in a bad way here. Derek Moss has him trapped in the corner. He has that ladder positioned against the chin of Tommy Arson right now. Derek Moss is going to move that blue ladder out of the way because he's got another huge maneuver up his sleeve, and this may not be good for Tommy Arson because Derek Moss is climbing the opposite rope that Tommy's in. He can't be thinking what I think he's thinking. There's no way he's going to be able to do this. Derek Moss going coast to coast the long way, not able to make it. But head first. The ladder smacks Derek Moss right across the head. Tommy Arson, veteran instincts, realizing that there was no strategy there. Tommy Arson got lucky. Tommy Arson was lucky that Derek Moss just didn't have the exact amount of energy he needed to jump that far across the ring. And with one extra kick across the side of the temple to Derek Moss, Tommy Arson is going to win this match. At least that's what it looks like, because Derek has not moved since he took that ladder to the head and that kick that followed. Derek Moss has simply rolled over his dead-weighted body into the center of the ring, and Tommy Arson's alone on the ladder right now. Tommy Arson climbing to retrieve that regional championship. Tommy Arson, caught in the hip with that second ladder, and that causes him to pause because he's had leg issues, knee issues, and hip issues in his career. Tommy Arson, no stranger to issues with his hips, his joints, especially in his legs. And now Tommy Arson trying to hammer Derek Moss's head off of the top of that ladder. Tommy Arson and Derek Moss are both positioned on top of their respective ladders, both hammering away at each other. And both ladders are pushed out from under their opponent. However, both men land on their feet here. And Tommy backs into Derek, catches the super kick, goes for the knee strike. Derek catches him. Derek catches Tommy Arson with the knee strike. Both men are down again. Derek Moss with a last-ditch effort with that, the very last amount of energy that he had there. Derek Moss has to find his way back to his feet, has to find his way up that ladder, and has to find his way to a victory here tonight to become the regional heavyweight champion for the first time in his career tonight. Can Derek Moss do it? Or will Tommy Arson come back, make his way to his feet, and climb that ladder and retrieve his belt to continue his reign of terror that he's been on since Halloween 2014, back in October of the year previous from this? Derek Moss, however, up to his knees with the help of the ladder, using every bit of strength that he has, the little strength that he has in his body, and the solidity of that ladder that he's using to base himself off of. Derek Moss is trying his damnedest, trying his hardest to climb this ladder and make it to the regional title. Tommy Arson, however, is going to meet him there. Tommy Arson in a very, very, very precarious situation in this match against Derek Moss. Derek Moss, however, up at the top of the ladder. Derek Moss climbing as Tommy Arson grasps it, and Derek Moss has done it. Derek Moss is the regional champion. Derek Moss, for the first time ever, has captured the PWA Regional Championship in this ladder match, ending the legendary reign that Tom Arson has been on since October. A huge 8-month reign, 7-month reign perhaps, from Tommy Arson. Derek Moss has done it, and for the first time ever, Derek Moss is the regional champion inside of PWA. Thanks for tuning into another free match. We're on the road to the Grand Wrestling Spectacle. Stay tuned for more previous Spectacle content coming up in the next few days and weeks, leading up to May 21st for Spectacle 10.